Hi and welcome back to Chit Chat with a Cup of Plants. My name is Caro, and on this section of my YouTube channel we will be doing an elixir recipe together, and also we will be diving into a conversation together. Both the drink and the conversation are going to be related for each episode. I'm dropping a new episode every new moon, so happy new moon. The topic for today's episode is beauty and our ideas around it. So the elixir that we will be making today is a beauty tonic elixir. We will be using mangosteen, hibiscus, calendula, rose, and coconut sugar. We will be using a mangosteen hibiscus tonic by Anima Mundi. This is a natural vitamin C source, which is also great as a detoxifier, anti-inflammatory, antioxidant, and mineralizer. We will also be using rose powder or rose buds, whichever you prefer. If you prefer both, that's also great. Rose has been known worldwide to uplift our moods, as well as an anti-inflammatory nervine. And we will be using calendula flowers. Calendula is known to be an antiviral as well as an anti-inflammatory. And please remember that everything that I'm sharing related to plants and fungi on this section of my YouTube channel hasn't been tested by the FDA. So please make sure to consult your doctor before using any of these herbs. And with the rose that I just mentioned, we will be making a rose milk. You can use any milk of your preference. I will be using a almond milk as well as some coconut cream powder because I love it and I put it on everything. And I'm also using some coconut sugar as my choice of sweetener. The first thing that we will be doing is boiling our water. My water is already boiled, so we will be adding hot water to steep our calendula and our rose buds. First, we will add some calendula flowers. As well as some rose hip buds. And we will let them steep for about 5 to 7 minutes. Remember to use hot water but not boiling water, as boiling water really makes the rose powder and rose hips turn into more of a astringent acid flavor. But if we only use hot water, it will be totally good and the flavor that we will get from the roses will be delicious. We will let these steep for around 5 to 7 minutes, and in the meantime we will be working on our rose milk as well as adding the mangosteen and hibiscus powder to our cup. We will be using about 1 teaspoon of the mangosteen and hibiscus beauty tonic, and both hibiscus and mangosteen can have a little bit of a sour flavor, so that's why I will recommend to add some sweetener of your choice. I will be using 1 teaspoon of coconut sugar. We will be using our calendula and rose hips tea in order to froth this. So in the meantime, we can start doing our rose milk. In a separate container, we will be doing our rose milk. And for these, we will be using half a teaspoon of rose powder, now to the side we have our rose powder. We will add a little bit of coconut cream powder. You don't really need to add this, I just love coconut's flavor and it will make our milk a little frothier. And then add any milk of your choice. I will be using some almond milk. And froth away. Now we will add our steeped tea into our cup, just a tap. And we will mix it up. If you don't have a frother, you're totally welcome to use a whisk or just a spoon. Or a blender. Now we will top off our cup with a little bit more calendula and rose tea. And now we will add our rose milk. And if you know me already, I will be adding some calendula petals to make it look prettier. And some rosehip petals as well. And we got it. Our beauty elixir is ready. So now that we have our beauty elixirs ready, why don't we dive into a conversation about beauty and thoughts around it? So for my previous chit chats with a cup of plants, I've sitting down to journal about the topic and kind of get an idea of the order in the one I would be talking. But when I sat down to write and journal about today's video, about my thoughts on beauty, I realized that I really didn't want to have anything prepared for this. I wanted to be as raw as I could, as raw as possible, and just to have this conversation as if we would be just diving into it as a friend, as two friends sitting down together. And of course, I don't feel like a person that can give anyone tips around beauty. I think that beauty is such a personal thing, and we all approach it in such personal ways. So I respect that our journeys are different and that all of us have a different intake on what beauty is. So what I would actually like to share with you are my own thoughts on beauty and my own journey around beauty since being a kid and growing up and shifting my way of thinking around it. So yes. So actually one of the main reasons why I decided to do this YouTube channel is because a few years back I was trying to learn something new, something that would inspire me to feel creative in a completely new way, and that's when I started to learn how to edit videos. And I posted my first or second YouTube video just showing my art studio, showing everything that I learned through learning how to edit videos pretty basically on Premiere Pro, and I just left it there. I posted this video on YouTube thinking that I could share it with my friends and family, and maybe if someone wrote to me asking about my art studio, I could send them this link, but I never intended for this video to be seen by strangers. And I didn't know you could subscribe to YouTube channels at that time. And a few months later, I go back into the platform and I realized that I had something between 7,000 to 12,000 subscribers on YouTube, and I realized that most of them were women, and most of them were women in between 15 and 35, so teenagers and grown-up women. And I started realizing that a lot of you were sending me messages or comments asking for me to post more videos about my routines and about different things. So I felt pretty flattered by this and pretty inspired to share more about me and my life and my art and my ideas with all of you. But I also made it for myself. I also remember that growing up, I never ¿Cómo poner esto en palabras? So growing up, I didn't really have anyone that looked like me that I could look up to. I felt that I grew up with the idea that beauty only looked certain way and it only weighted a certain amount, and you had to be a certain height and weight a certain amount and look in a specific way and dress in a specific way and talk in a specific way. And I guess that this idea came from advertisement and what I saw on TV and all this like media that is pushed towards us all the time. And I grew up with a lot of depression. I grew up with a lot of insecurities. I grew up being ashamed of my face and ashamed of my size and my body and all of it, you name it. And even 6 or 7 years ago, I used makeup as a tool not to accentuate my natural features, but I actually used makeup as a way to change my features and make me look like something else that I wasn't. And this is something that I shared on my 3-minute makeup routine video. That is that at some point I was ashamed to go outside without makeup, and I was ashamed to go out without cat eye. I would use like the cat eye all the time, and at some point the chemical brand that I was using, it was harming my eyelid, but I decided to keep on using the makeup because I wouldn't dare to go outside without it. So the most healthy decision at that point would be to stop using makeup, take care of my eyelid skin, nourish it, and maybe use makeup afterwards. And that was a breaking point for me. I really realized like this is wrong. And at the same time, I was starting to connect more with nature, with my natural rhythms, with learning how to rest and not seeing that my value was related either to my work or my productivity or on the beauty standards that I would see all around me. And I also started tapping into the amazing intelligence that indigenous communities around the world have, and that made me think a lot about how the features in my face, in my body, in my skin, in the way that I talk, in my accent, all of them are stories, and all of them tell the stories of where I come from, and they all tell the stories of who my ancestors were. So within the last few years, I've come to heal that aspect by realizing that all of my physical features are telling the stories of my ancestors, and I now wear them with pride. And besides wanting to touch base on the different beauty standards that we can grow up with, or we can learn about, or we can nourish within ourselves, I also wanted to touch base with the idea, with this feeling that I have, that is that beauty is not a new skincare routine, but rather a feeling from within. And a few years ago, I was reading this book by the owner of Living Libations. Her name just slipped my mind right now, but I believe it's Nadine. She wrote a wonderful book about beauty, and I love how, of course, she owns a skincare brand. She talks a lot about how natural ingredients are amazing for skin and whatnot, but the book starts with the first few chapters talking about how beauty is a feeling from within, and how the best beauty routines that we can have are sunbathing and moon gazing and stargazing and star bathing, and just being surrounded by nature really nourishes us from the inside out. And I do believe that whenever we feel the happiest, the more connected to our own natural rhythms, to our own inner beauty, when we are creating, when we are loving, when we are sharing, when we are eating healthy foods, it all starts reflecting on how much our hair and our skin shine and how much radiance others can see from our eyes. And I believe that, yes, beauty is something that comes from how much are we nourishing our souls and our dreams and our loved ones and ourselves. And I love how, again, I touch base on the idea that we are not only me inside this, or me, this human body, or inside this human body, however you like to see it. I really love seeing it as we are all interconnected. And if my friends or my partner or my family is happy and radiant, then I can also be radiant. If I am sharing with my community, I can be radiant. If I am connecting to nature, then I'm being radiant, because I'm just a mirror of everything that is expanding around me and from within me. So, of course, I do use skin oils, and I massage my face, and I work out, and I take care of my hair, and I do all these things, but I do them from a place of love, and I do them to accentuate and to, I don't really know how to say this, but inspire my physical body to feel nourished and be nourished so it can look nourished. And yeah, I just believe that beauty comes from when we come from a place of love, when we come from a place of nourishment, when we rest and sleep and take walks in nature and dance. And I think a lot about the power that we all have. I like to think that I have the power to empower a younger woman that looks like me or similar to me, or we might be the same height, or we might think the same things, or we might have the same nose type or the same skin color. So I feel that if I would have grown knowing more amazing, successful women that looked like me, I would have felt more empowered to share myself instead of feeling shy and instead of feeling insecure, because I felt that amazing, powerful, creative, sexy woman didn't look the way that I did. So I think there's a lot to say about that, but I think that one of the most magical and most important powers that we have as individuals is to inspire others and to inspire the younger generations that look like us. So yes, I just want to leave you on that note. I am not a role model by no means. I am not trying to be a role model, because then again I would be trying to fit someone's idea of perfection. And for me, my own perspective on perfection is letting me share my flaws and letting me share how imperfect a lot of things are, which makes them perfect at the end of the day. Maybe I'm going on a rumble now, but yes, I just wanted to leave you on that note, on the note that we all have the power to inspire our friends, to inspire ourselves, to inspire the younger generations that look like us. So I just wanted to invite you to think about yourself like that, to think about your beauty as the beauty to interconnect with others, to share with others, and to be of inspiration to others. When I nourish me, I nourish we. And if I'm capable of stepping here on YouTube and talking about how insecure I was when I was a kid and how awesome and secure I feel most of the times nowadays, because of course it does come back sometimes. And yesterday I was rewatching one of my favorite talks by two powerful, amazing women, which are Emma Watson and Rupi Kaur, and they have an amazing conversation. I'm gonna link it in the video's description. If you haven't seen it, you need to watch that right after this video. I love how Rupi talks about when she was growing up, she felt so ashamed of her own face that she wouldn't dare to look at herself in the mirror sometimes. And I can relate to that. I can relate to that depressive feeling that we might all be connecting to. So I think it's also important to talk about that, because sometimes you see all these people on the internet and you think they are never insecure or depressed, or they feel they are beautiful all the time. So Rupi has given me, with her magic and her art, a lot of permission to be myself and to speak to the younger generations. And I hope I'm also giving permission and inspiring others around the world to do that. So yeah, I just wanted to say that it is a cycle. We have cycles within ourselves, and some days we might feel prettier than others, and some days we might feel more insecure, and some days we might feel like we really want to just hide from the world. So we all feel that, but just know that you're not alone if you're going through any of those rumbles right now. And before finishing this video, I would love to invite you to journal for a little while, and maybe let's answer the question or make a list of what is making you feel beautiful right now, and also a list of what are your physical features that really speak the story of your ancestors. So let's say my nose is pretty thick because my grandfather from my mom's side comes from the mountains in Peru, and indigenous peoples from there have the nose thicker and bigger. So I really love my nose because it really reminds me of who my grandfather was. And yeah, so yes, I invite you to make this list. I really hope you enjoyed today's video. I would love to hear some of your ideas around beauty, about what is making you feel beautiful today. And also I would love to hear if you like this series, if this is something that you would like me to continue doing, as well as some topics that you would like us to touch base on. If you are new to my channel, I invite you to subscribe. If you like what you see, I invite you to follow me on Instagram, where I post pretty often as well. I wish you a beautiful and happy new moon. I hope this new cycle brings amazing things for you, and I will see you on my next video. Bye, be well.